you still there? Okay, I got you.
I just started recording.
You're awesome.
Yay.
All right, can y'all hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Okay, good. I'm muting myself.
Okay, thank you, Patricia. Okay, so I'm gonna read that again. It says, just the second sentence. Many veteran homeschool experts recommend a month of deschooling time for every year the child was in school.
Woo.
Right.
I wish I had known that.
Why do you say that, Aisha?
Because I feel like the transition wouldn't have been so painful with my oldest. And we would have found a groove of our own instead of trying to fit ourselves in somebody else's groove.
Mm-hmm. I've heard that a lot. I think I was very fortunate to have Renita. She was my homeschool mentor, to tell me to take a break, even though she didn't call it deschooling. She didn't use the jargon. But I think about, no lie, like 5 or 6 months went by and we had not picked out any book, curriculum, or nothing. We were just at home trying to get to know each other without a bunch of stress and the hustle and bustle of, what we were used to. I don't know if I fully agree with the 1 month for every year, but I think when you're done deschooling, and you just have to not rush, I think is the point. So a little bit more on that. It's so important to ease in slowly if you're transitioning from traditional school. It's called deschooling, once again. This is a time to get adjusted to being at home together, creating a new routine, doing fun field trips, making new homeschool friends. You can check out tons of books from the library. You can read together, cook your favorite recipes. And as the teacher, that would be us, it gives you time to learn about curriculum, read the files and the units that are in this homeschool group and other homeschool groups, and research homeschooling events. Last week, Yolanda talked to us about learning styles and educational philosophy. So it's a great time to read up on that, to follow up on those things. It's just a time of adjustment, and it's truly, truly important. Another article says the recommended deschooling time is 1 to 4 weeks for every year that your student attended a traditional school. Again, that's not a hard, fast rule, but it is a recommendation from so many of us that have been doing this for a while, that it is important not to try to bring traditional school to your house, but to set something new. It has to be something new that is pertinent for your home. And the article that I'm looking at, which I'm going to post in the event on our group, it says it may sound daunting to avoid formal learning right away, but it creates an excellent foundation for learning at home. And one of the articles says that even though you took a break in the summer, that is not deschooling. And I was like, what? The summer break is the standard of the calendar year for your traditional school schedule. So that is not a deschooling period. Deschooling is intentionally not jumping into your formal learning so that you can set up your own homeschool routine. I'm gonna let that marinate. Just go ahead and let it sink in. So that means whatever your start date is, like August the 18th or September 1st, whatever you decide for your home, if you decide to deschool, which we hope you do, that's when that process begins. Okay, summer was summer. That was the traditional schedule for traditional school. The deschooling period begins after that.
Okay, makes sense.
Yes, I know it's different. It's different. And a lot of people do avoid it, but some of our moderators that are on today, like Aisha, already spoke up. I don't know if Mary's here, but Mary has a story to tell as well. Maybe you'll hear it this afternoon about bringing her 4 children home from public school and making that transition. Some of the benefits of deschooling are, number one, you get to focus on relationships with your children and your children with you. 2, you get to develop your natural interests. The children get to develop their natural interests. And then you can experience learning versus just going to school, okay? There's something to be said about all 3 of those. And I think for my family, number 2 stood out the most, developing natural interests, because I knew my oldest liked art, but I didn't know how good she was at art until we came home and we just did whatever we wanted to do. And she started to draw, she started to paint, and all this amazing art started coming out. And I was like, oh my goodness, I didn't know that you could do this. So that was a very revealing time for us. And actually, it made me really happy to see a new side of my children in that way. Does anybody have any comments or questions?
I have a question. I have a question.
Yeah.
I get the part about the deschooling. It's like decompressing actually from whatever life is thrown at you. But if you're doing like non-traditional and then you have to test, is there a particular test you use? Because it's not like, following the school system.
Are you talking about at the end of your
Yes.
school? Well, there are a few you can use. Most homeschoolers use the California Achievement Test. It's called CAT, basically.
Okay.
And it's inexpensive. You can do it untimed, meaning you log into it and then it would take us 3 or 4 days to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do it timed or untimed. We always chose an untimed CAT exam.
Okay.
And we usually did ours at the end of the year. Some people do it in the spring. We did ours in December because we always break for 6 weeks, like after Thanksgiving. So
okay.
I like to do it. Everybody's different. And once you do that CAT exam, you get the results back, and then you send that to Julie as well.
Okay.
Yeah, in August, you send that in.
Okay, so, but if you're not doing like the standard math, English, you kind of fluid, as I've been hearing that word, how do you test with that?
That is a good question. You will eventually begin curriculum or schooling. So you're not taking your whole year and deschooling. Deschooling lasts for a period, a predetermined, intentional period of time that you're going to set and say, okay, right now we're just going to cook, we're going to do our chores, we're going to decide what our schedule is, what time we're going to wake up, time we're going to go to bed, and we're going to set things in order. And then once mom, grandma, dad, grandpa, whoever's the parent, homeschooling parent, they will have time to get their curriculum plan together. And then you can start easing into curriculum and decide when you want to do your CAT. And you can do your CAT months and months later, as long as it's before the deadline of August 1st.
Oh, okay. All right. That sounds good.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. And if you decide not to use a standardized test, you can also use an evaluator, which is a person with a master's degree that can look over your students' portfolio or body of work, that you can put together some of the samples of things that you all have done. And then they will write a letter saying that your student has made progress to go on to the next grade. And that also goes to, in our case, Julie, because I'm in Virginia Beach as well.
Okay. All right. Wonderful.
I have a question about that.
Mm-hmm.
If you're done, Miss Patricia.
Yeah, I'm finished. I know I go on, but yes, your turn.
Okay, so first time homeschooling mom over here. I'm curious to know, in your opinion, what is the like pros and cons of doing an evaluator as opposed to the CAT test? I have 3 school-aged kids plus a toddler. So I've got an incoming 6th, a rising 4th, and a rising 1st grader. And if you say, if we decided to go, because this is our first year, maybe the evaluation route, like say we do that, what kind of things makes up the portfolio? If you could answer those for me, please.
Yeah, sure. And this is an area that I actually wish I would have done differently. And I think in my case, I had a lot of wins because I did have a mentor and someone walking me through. But in the area of evaluation, I don't think I did a good job with my students. And what I mean by that is I didn't know when I started homeschooling that I had options. And I thought I only could do the CAT or the Iowa, or, there's a list of different standardized tests that a homeschooler can do to prove progress. I didn't know I could use an evaluator, and I would have preferred to use an evaluator. We have a person in our group, her name is Shay, and she is a homeschool evaluator, and she charges a very nominal fee to evaluate your student and provide a letter of proof of progress. And I wish I would have known, because in my case, I have 2 students that deal with test anxiety. And that's why I say it took us 3 or 4 days to complete the CAT exam. And a lot of people that I have read on homeschool blogs and stuff are like, oh, it's so easy. It's so easy. It's just, a little spelling and math. For us, it was not easy. And you asked for my opinion. I watching my students go through it was just cringe-worthy. And I would have preferred to have a sample of different, and by a portfolio, it can be very simple. And if you contact Shay in our group, Shay Malone, she can tell you, but I have heard, and I have not used an evaluator yet, but that's what I wanted to do for this year. You can have samples of worksheets, samples of writing. If you had your students write sentences or paragraphs, it doesn't have to be 180 days worth of work. It's a sample of some of the items that you did throughout the year that can show progress throughout the year. And there's not a standard bullet list of things you have to have. It's whatever you put together for your evaluator and what your evaluator says you need. So I would recommend you contact an evaluator, and I'm going to put Shay out there because she's my friend and she's a member of this group, and say, hey, I'm considering using an evaluator at the end of this homeschool year. Can you tell me what to collect so I can be ready? And you can kind of work backwards.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel the same, like what you were saying. I know I suffered from that. That's, with the testing anxiety, and I know my kids know it, and it's I feel like they have the same thing. They understand it, but when you sit them down. So I will
Yeah.
reach out. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And someone put Shay's name in the chat. So if you want to pull up the chat, Ashley, you can see it's Shay Malone. Mary, did you have your, yeah.
I'm sorry, did somebody have their hand raised already?
I think Mary does. Mary, you there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, I'm in my kitchen with my hair up, so I'm not like completely dressed and all cute today, but that's okay. But we used Shay last year. Well, all 4 of mine, and I enjoyed it. We took our composition books, took our book to her. She went through the book, asked the kids a bunch of questions, but she also had some little online quizzes and different things that she did with each one of them at their level to see what they knew, how they were doing, and everything. She even gave some recommendations for things. I know one, we needed some recommendations for. He was the one we came home for anyway. But it was real quick and easy. Did all 4 of them at the same time. Shay was perfect. So we have some testing issues over here too. So I would definitely recommend if you have testing issues to talk to an evaluator and get it done that way. It really worked for us great.
So Mary, you're saying you used Shay for all 4 of your students?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And
awesome.
I was prepared to do the same this year until, of course, everything happened. But Shay is great. Very patient, real easy. She's perfect if you don't decide to do your testing. We had done testing 3 years before, but last year we went with Shay, and it was great.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, we would start the test. There would be tears. There would be people smacking keyboards and just a lot of stress. And I'm like, you know what? This is how I was feeling. My t-shirt. This needs to be my uniform. I wear every single day of the year. I'm going to get it in different colors. Not today. But yeah, I don't think it's worth it to put our children through that if there's another option that's actually will give you more information than a standardized test would do anyway, Let's see, someone else wanted to speak. Emily, you there?
Yep, it was me.
Hey.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
I hear you speak a lot about the things that you did when you were deschooling children, like just finishing up, or doing the chores for the day, going out, doing groceries, and running errands, things of that sort. Do you have any suggestions, or how do you think that would play out with people who work full time, like myself? I work from home all day, but I don't have that luxury to kind of leave out or do those types of things. Is there any creative ways to deschool while managing the schedule?
Well, I think we can actually brainstorm because we're all together. I don't work full-time from home. I do work part-time from home. My first thought, and anyone please jump in if you have ideas, but I'm a huge proponent of online documentaries. There was a long list of Netflix educational videos, Prime. If you have Amazon Prime Video, they have tons of like an educational section.
Here's Homecoming Season 2 episode.
Amazon, stop. I was not talking to her. Do you have Alexa? I mean, she just busted the conversation.
We have
Alexa.
Google. It does it all the time.
This is crazy. Alexa, stop. Amazon, stop. What in the world?
You can press the mute microphone so that she doesn't respond on the.
Let me do that.
Yeah.
There we go, because she's all in my conversation
Right.
now. But you know what's funny? That's another thing. We have used that thing, I can't even say her name, for our school, the kids will do quizzes on there. We set up different skills. But anyway, I would definitely utilize documentaries if your kids like to watch shows, things that they can learn. You can also set up playlists on YouTube for them to watch different brain games or documentaries about a certain subject. I have heard people making a morning basket, which we tried the morning basket. I can't say it worked very well for us.
What is a morning basket?
It is a basket.
I got nothing of that because you started to break up.
Sound like a guitar playing.
It has different things in it that your kids know, okay, I'm going to get up in the morning, I'm going to do my chores, and I'm going to go in the basket. And mom has put some stuff in there. So they're, okay, hold on. Let me go get our basket. One second. Do I sound okay now?
For now, yes.
All right, let me see something. I told you I'm getting tested today. All right, I'm also on.
So
Hold on one second. I'm sure.
Explain me, like, again, what exactly is a morning basket? Because as soon as you started, it went all crazy.
Okay, testing.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. Okay, I switched devices. I got a lot going on right now with these devices, but it is all good. Okay, let's see. All right, I have my morning basket. I'm gonna show it to y'all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I have to look over here and I'm gonna talk over here. So this should be interesting. Okay, this is my son's basket.
Okay.
This idea came from YouTube, one of the moms I follow. All right, so in the basket, and please yell at me if my sound is bad, okay? All right, so.
I don't see anything. Is your video started on the new device?
How's that?
Yep, thanks.
Thank you. All right, so we have a little devotional book so they can have some kind of inspiration, motivation for the day. This is called Dear God, and I just bought these little books because they're easy to read and the kids can do that on their own. It's like a one-pager, so that. And then a phonics DVD they can pop in and watch. And this is by Preschool Prep. And my kids, my younger is not obviously in preschool, but I still pull out those old things and make my kids refresh on old skills. So there's a couple of those. And then I have workbooks in here. So what I like to do is tab the workbook and they can go in and do the activity. So this was a mapping activity of a neighborhood. And they read the directions and work on that. So the basket basically has items in it that the student can do on their own, okay? Here's another example. This is called Daily Math. And I picked this up for, I want to say it was $1 at Moore's Expressions, but I got a bundle of them. And you open it up, and it has really, really easy math exercises. This is my son's basket. He's the younger student. And this was his 3rd grade basket. So he would pick a page, do one of those. What else did we have? I have this lined paper. It looks busted up because it is, but I would put something across the top for him to copy, like his name and our address and phone number.
Okay.
And then he would copy that. There's a bunch of stuff in here. And then if you want to get fancy, you can put days in there like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So your child knows little sections of the basket and what to do on that day. This is an ABC journal. Again, just something I picked up at Dollar Tree or something. I was somewhere.
Did it work very well for you? Did you like it?
I loved it because I like organizational tools.
Yes.
I found it difficult to get the kids to go to the basket. So like they would keep coming to me, hey mom, what are we supposed to do? I'm like, don't forget to go to your morning basket. And they're like, so the problem could have been my consistency. And I think that's another thing with homeschooling. You have to be consistent with whatever you decide to do. So I like the concept, but I just had to keep redirecting them. And I think that's something you could use if you're deschooling and working from home, is to have either a basket. When we moved away from the basket, we went to a clipboard, and I don't have a prepared clipboard, but what I would do is I would have my clipboard and it would have activities on the clipboard, and it would have Monday at the bottom. So my student would know this is what I'm doing for Monday. And then the next day was Tuesday, and they could do as many as they wanted on that day. And I would look at them on my breaks or at the end of the day and give them feedback. So you could do that. But if you're deschooling, you know, you're not really focused on hardcore learning. So that's why I said it's easier to keep it fun. Maybe find some snacks that your kids can put together on their own. Some unique activities that they could do, board games. If you have multiple children, it's easier for them to play together, like Scrabble and Apples to Apples. I mean, things that we think are fun are usually learning tools.
Okay.
Anybody want to chime in? Mary, you want to chime in? Your hand is up.
I'm sorry, I didn't take it down. I apologize.
Oh, no worries. We were just talking about deschooling for a working parent and how to do that. I'm going to show. Yeah, please.
So, okay, so I'm in the same situation. Both, actually, my husband and I are working from home, and I have been since February before all this happened. But it's loud. I'm sorry. They're running around. It's lunchtime. I am a nurse, so you know it's very hard at times when I'm working to pull away, you know, and everything. So one of the things that I did do is utilize my break times, because you have to step away from the computer. So I made it that point where they know that I kind of kept up with the schedule that I kind of made for my own sanity when they all got sent home from school in March, and we kind of had everything start at like 10 o'clock. So they know that from 10 o'clock, they can do their cartoons, they can watch their, you know, brush their, you know, by 10 o'clock, they need to have their teeth brushed, breakfast had been done and everything. And then because of the time that I work, which I typically start between, hold on, Roma, ask Sissy, go ask Sissy. Because I typically start between 6:30 and 7, by about 10:30, I'm ready to take a break anyway because half my day is done. So what I had done is for my lunch break, because I eat at my computer, I know it's not the greatest thing, but for my lunch break, that's when I utilize the time. So right now we are, I guess, kind of deschooling. I mean, now that you've explained it, I haven't set the exact date of when we're going to start, I guess, I don't want to say hardcore, but actually start. But one thing that we're doing is I take 30 minutes out of my hour break, and we go over, like, I want us to learn one Bible verse together as a family. So that's one thing that we talk about. And then we chose to read, I think it's Charlotte's Web. So I read for 20 minutes and then we just talk about what we've read. And then they have their chores and different things to do. But I do find that with me working from home, if you have that option to be a little flexible, I do go in a little earlier, because then by 3 o'clock I'm done. And so I know that there is still daylight for us to go outside and play, or they, after lunch, they typically go play. But some of the other things that we were doing is they thought it was funny at first, but they actually enjoyed it. When they sit down and eat lunch, I pop on the YouTube videos. We did some Bob Ross videos. So they were like, who is this man in the afro, doing these trees?
Oh, I love Bob Ross.
But right. And they never, they had never really seen it. And then afterwards, they have a lot of girls. What's that called? If you're wanting to draw, they got a whole bunch of papers. And it was like, you can draw. And these YouTube videos that it kept them busy because it was things that they were interested in. And that's kind of some of the things that we've been doing, along with them knowing, they have to do their chores. But really, I've been encouraging them to play. Like I said, so my kids are 11, 8.5, 6, and 2.5. And so, they're playing. And I even had one time, my oldest was trying to convince us that she needed slime. So I was like, okay, well, you need to write up or give us a presentation as to why. And her sister came together. And so it's little things like that until I'm able to give my full undivided attention. In terms of the planning that I've done so far, when we do actually start really going into lessons and what have you, I've gotten a composition book. I got a wonderful idea from Adrian, but it was a composition book, and I wrote, each kid has their own, and they have an agenda with the check box. So like Monday, you're doing lesson 1 on page this in your box, so they have certain things that they can do independently, the older girls. And I know though that I am getting off in time to be able to work with my first grader. But there are things that he can sit down and this is your copy work and everything like that. So it's just of trying to find things that they're interested in and keeping them, keeping their interest peaked. But I utilize my break times. And then, it may be that we're doing more between the hours of 3 and 5 in the evening, but it's still not too late that I can't get dinner on the table. And I have been kind enough to myself to realize that that may be what works the best, and allowing myself that type of grace, because like I said, a full-time RN, I can't just pull away when I want to all the time, but I do have those set breaks. So I'm utilizing them to work for our family, if that helps.
That's awesome. Those are great ideas. Very, very good suggestions. Thank you so much. So, and kind of to piggyback on what you were saying, some tips to get started in deschooling, if you can see my screen, ask your kids what they want to learn, what they want to learn about, and pop in some YouTube videos. You mentioned Bob Ross, that's pretty cool. Different art projects. Right now, my son is into the bow staff and different karate and stuff like that. So he watches a lot of those videos. Decide when you want to learn. So you mentioned utilizing breaks and your lunchtime, absolutely, and make a schedule. So I put kind of a pseudo schedule on the screen as an example. This is how I would utilize my deschooling time. From 7 to 10, that's my time, just because my family likes to sleep in. So I get up early and I do my workout, or I make my tea, or I pay some bills, or I do whatever I need to do without any distractions. And if the kids happen to wake up, they do whatever they want to do, and I do what I need to do. And then around 10:30, we have breakfast, and then we would do chores with music just to keep it fun. And one of my goals with deschooling is to help my kids to like being at home and to like homeschooling. So I tried to keep it light, keep it fun, keep the atmosphere moving, always have the snacks that they wanted, and just kind of, I wouldn't say bribe, but entice them that this is going to be good. This is going to be fun. And if it's not going to be fun, at least you'll be extremely comfortable. You're at home. You get to, kind of be in your own element. After chores with music, we liked to go outside. So we would take a walk around the block and maybe pass the ball around or just hang out in the sun. Then at 12, we would make lunch together and watch a fun educational show. And 12:45 is afternoon cleanup. So whatever you messed up from the morning, get that done. 12:45 cleanup. 1 o'clock, read together. I didn't think my children would like me to read to them, but it turns out it was kind of fun. Like, they liked it, I liked it. We would pick a book, and it would be anything. We spent a lot of time in Aesop's fables. They really enjoyed learning about the animals and the lessons from the animals, and they liked hearing me being silly and putting emphasis on different things. So we really enjoy reading together, and we still do. My oldest is 13, and I still read to both of them. Around 1:30, a creative art project or dance or karate, play instruments. My kids had recorders at home, so I would let them toot the recorder. We had a tambourine one time, so we were banging on that. We've had all kind of different things in this house. We've had a lot of different instruments. We have a keyboard, so we would just mess around with that. Then we go back outside or take a field trip. Now, I know we're in the difficult times of a pandemic and health crisis, and it's harder to have field trips, but there are still ways to do it safely with social distancing, masking, and all that good stuff. It's as easy as getting in your car and taking a ride, running to maybe an open field and just getting some fresh air. We have taken our kids to different outdoor landmarks, and we'll sit there, and you know how in Hampton Roads they have the historical landmarks, and you can read what happened in this exact spot 200 years ago. Those are pretty interesting, and I think right now just getting out of the house and getting fresh air really goes a long way. So outdoor time, or I'll say field trip. And make dinner together if you can. By that time, you might just want to be making dinner by yourself. I ain't gonna lie. And then some free time. I just let my kids do whatever. I don't have a lot of rules, but that's just me. My husband and I are pretty laid back. So after you've been with us all day and we've been with you, we all pretty much want to go to our own corners. So free time, and then whatever happens in the evening, is unrelated to our deschooling. But that's just an example of how we did our deschooling schedule, just trying to keep the children busy without a very rigorous schedule and really finding out what worked for us. We're not early morning people. I am, but my children are not. So I push things toward the afternoon, and that's something you'll have to figure out as you are deschooling. There are a couple of links that I will share in the Facebook group that were very helpful for me when I was researching this topic. I had the benefit of deschooling when I didn't know I was deschooling, but when I went back to prepare for this session, I was really impressed by the links that are shown there, and I will put them on the Facebook group because I don't want them to get lost in the chat here on Zoom. But is there anything else anyone wants to ask or interject while we're together? Mary or Aisha, y'all have anything to chime in on?
I do have a question. This is Emily.
Yeah.
It's unrelated to D-School.
Sure.
I somehow lost my diploma while I was in the process of moving, and I contacted the school system. They said that they only order it once a month, and they order it on the 15th, and it takes like 6 to 8 weeks. Yeah, so using that option is not going to put me at the deadline. Is there any other documentation that they need, or any other way around sending that NOI without it?
Her high school diploma?
Yes.
Okay, you can use a college degree, or you can use your spouse or other legal guardian high school diploma or college degree.
I missed the last part of that.
You can use your, if there's another legal guardian in the home, you can use their information as well.
Oh, okay. Even though I would be doing the teaching?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I use my husband's
Okay.
because it was easier to grab. I have mine, but I used his. He's a licensed teacher in the state of Virginia, so
Okay.
we just use his stuff.
Okay, cool.
Yep, easy breezy.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we like it.
I have another question to kind of piggyback off of that.
Yeah.
So, my high school diploma last name and my last name now are different. So, because I wasn't married then, not married now either. But anyway, so does that matter? I mean,
No.
oh, okay, okay,
You'll be fine.
okay.
I think that's likely the case for most of us or a lot of people, so it's okay.
All right.
Good question.
Yes, so in a case like that, would my husband have to write the NOI or send it in, or could I still send it in with my name and just his information?
What I did, I put Matt and Shannon stakes at the top, and then I included his information.
Okay.
And everything.
Okay. Well, last question. Would it matter that we're not married yet? We're getting married 10/10/2020. So would it matter or no? Okay.
Nope, you'll be fine. Yep.
All right.
As long as a legal guardian in the
Okay.
Yep, you'll be fine. And quite honestly, by the time they get back to you, it could be weeks and weeks or months. If you need other documentation, that's easy to follow up on, but I haven't heard that to be an issue before. It's a pretty straightforward process.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We have another session at 1, and that is about curriculum and what we use. I think there's 5 of us that are going to be talking about how we do school after the deschooling process is over, and just a sample of how we do things and what that looks like. So if you want to jump back on at 1 o'clock, please do. And as always, feel free to bring your questions or comments so that it's, kind of open forum. We definitely want to get to know everybody and just form our community. So.
Okay.
All right. We hope to see you guys at 1 o'clock. I'll put the links I talked about in the Facebook group.
Okay. All right.
All right. Thanks.
See you at 1.
All right, thanks.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.